your slow progress in life, these slow seasons, it may feel unimpressive. It may feel slow. Boy, is it foundational. Slow seasons build capacity for future responsibility. Oh boy, let me go ahead and say that one more time. So, slow seasons build capacity for future responsibility. But if you rush, you skip foundation. You build on ego instead of strength. So now I've learned that zone two isn't just in running. I just got to put zone two into my life. Sometimes these seasons may be slow, but there's a purpose. There's a reason for the season. Man, welcome back, y'all, to another episode of the podcast here, man. My name's Adrian Catano. I hope y'all been having a great week, y'all. My week has been incredible, bro. I feel like, at least when it comes to training, it's been incredible. Week over week, I've been holding on to 50 miles per week, which when I think about where I was at before, I would have never thought I'd be running 50 miles a week. But man, each week just continues to feel easier on my legs. I do about 13 miles on the weekend there on Saturday. And even that, man, has just been feeling better and better. Initially, it definitely did take a toll, but it was a gradual buildup, just, going from 30 and 35, increasing at that 10, 15% week over week. But my biggest battle out of all that is the balance of time. It's the struggle between time for training, time for content, more importantly, time with the Lord, time with my family, time for work, just being intentional with time overall. Sometimes I feel like I could be stretched so thin, and I've had to learn to be intentional with my yeses and be okay with my nos. I would always want to just be able to help in so many different areas and just take on additional tasks. But I learned that the more I take on, I can be so driven, but I stretch myself so thin that I just, or I wear myself out. I be tired. So, and even with my current load that I have going on, right? People think it's crazy whenever I tell them like, hey, I wake up at 2 a.m. to start my day. And they're like, what? 2 a.m.? Like, yeah, bro. Like, I feel like that's what I had to do to make sure that I can keep a balance between everything, right? Waking up, making sure that I'm reading, right? And even then, like, man, shout out to my fiance. She got me this devotional here and staying in the word through that, being able to read the word itself, being able to just keep up with everything else, but waking up, reading from there, just doing my runs right now range anywhere from like 7 to 8 miles Monday through Friday. So and it's zone two running. So for those that are unfamiliar with zone two, it's a pace that builds your aerobic endurance, which allows you to be able to endure down the line. Right. But I'll get more into that. But this zone two running is slow for me at times. So not at times, a good portion. I'm running like 10-minute miles, 11-minute miles at times. So it's just, and sometimes my heart rate be out of there one day. And it's just like, oh man, we're going to run 12-minute miles today. And it's just, really, it's just how my body may be reacting to certain things, fatigue, stress, lack of sleep. So it's really just being able to keep that individual balance between everything. But after that, I go ahead and do my strength training, eat my breakfast, coach the clients that I'm working with, and then throughout that entire morning time, I'm actually speaking to my fiance on the phone, have some good conversations there, and then from there, just shower, go to work, have your entire regular work day, and be able to come back and be intentional with my time here at home whenever my kids are here. Right. So just being able to make sure that the time that we do spend together is time that we can enjoy, time that they'll remember. Because before I know it, they will be 18, and not necessarily that they'd be out of the house, but the older they get, the more that they start to be doing their own things, right? So it's just trying to get them involved. And man, I'm a, I know I can keep on talking with things, but getting my son involved in running has been great. That's another balance too, right? Is just being able to go ahead and do his training. But it's just intentionality with the time to make sure that you're giving your 100% to everything and not stretching yourself so thin to where you can't. And that has been my biggest battle is making sure, at least for these past few weeks, is making sure that I can slow down enough to be able to be intentional with my time. And it's not simply just me being present, but I want to make sure it's intentional. But that's huge for me, man. And that's really what leads into my conversation. And I had brought it up, and it was zone two running. So, zone two running really has been something that I avoided initially when I started my running journey. I had no idea what zone two running is. There's different zones from being in zone one, two, all the way through five. Right. Zone five, you're intense. You over here, you getting it, boy. I'm just like, man, that's usually whenever I'm in a race. So it's just you feeling it. Right. It's right at the max capacity. But you in zone two, you're building yourself to be able to have a higher max capacity there. Right. It's to be able to endure. It's your aerobic endurance. Why do you do it? Right? Why be in zone two? To me, it's the sauce. It promotes recovery by increasing blood flow to areas that need recovery and removes waste from muscles without adding stress. So you're telling me that I can be physically active, burn my calories, build my endurance without stressing my body out. And it's like, who wouldn't go for this? See, it builds your aerobic capacity, so it improves your ability to use oxygen, and you're enduring for a longer period of time. So, what happens when we force ourselves to run outside of this zone two? And if we don't practice it for a good portion of time and you're just going in hard entire time, you fatigue, you have poor performance over time, you have a huge risk of injury. And I experienced that myself. I had this flare up, and man, I thought I wasn't going to be able to run anymore. And that was my own ego pushing myself to do more and more versus just taking a moment to slow down. You can burn out, and there's lack of progress at that point. Right? You're no longer looking forward to it. How many times does that happen in life? And this is where everything clicked for me, where it was just like, man, God, you presented this message to me in a way that just hit for me when I'm over here trying to train and understand my body. But this training itself isn't just for my body, it's for my life. How many times do we just overcommit and do more and not give ourselves a moment to rest, that you just burn out? There's lack of progress, poor performance, because of the fact that you just stretch yourself so thin that you don't give yourself the moment to have recovery, right? Being able to have that endurance throughout that time. And that's a big challenge, man. And for anybody that is competitive, I feel like that's where we fail, and we fall to our flesh because we want to compete. And I think that's whenever I first started my own ignorance, I was just like, man, this zone two running is crazy. I was over here running, I was proud of myself getting into these 6 minute miles where suddenly I'm introduced to what zone two training is and what it's supposed to do. So whenever I'm trying to see where my heart rate is, and it's saying to, and it's not reading where it's supposed to, I'm like, bro, how slow do I have to go? So then I considered my easy runs at that point. I'm like, you know what? My easy runs are just going to be a easy pace, right? Like I'm not going to pay attention to my heart rate because this is slow. So I know 8:30 is easy for me. 9:30, I'm going to stick through that range. And I'd be in zone three, sometimes at zone four, whenever I'm like trying to push into like the 7 minute range. And it would be my own ego that just pushes me into these areas versus allowing me to be able to grow and build this endurance. And what happens? I end up getting injured, right? And not just one knee. So because I was so dependent on the other knee that was good, then bam, the other knee gets hit. So I have flare ups in both knees. And it's an even bigger slowdown. Why? All because I was driven by my ego to not simply just slow down. I was ignorant, man. And we can go about doing that all the time in life where you feel it. I know you do. There's moments whenever, like, throughout that time in life where I'm like, man, I don't think that I should be moving in this direction, but the pay is going to be good. So let's go ahead and take this route. But is the quick route always the best route for you? See, zone two running can feel slow, it can look unimpressive, but it's foundational. It is foundational to the work that you put in to be able to run. So, your slow progress in life, these slow seasons, these challenges that you face, the growth that you have, it may feel unimpressive, it may feel slow, but boy, is it foundational. See, slow seasons build capacity for future responsibility. Oh boy, let me go ahead and say that one more time. So, slow seasons build capacity for future responsibility. And that is something that we just have to be able to understand. Whenever you're in that slow season versus trying to just rush through and rush through, and it's human nature of us, it's the flesh that we fall into where it's like, I, I can't stay here for this long period of time. But if you rush, you skip foundation, you build on ego instead of strength. And man, if you're building on your ego, that's exactly what I did in my run, and I injured myself. There's moments in life when we can just have our own drive that we don't pay attention to how much everything else suffers. We can be so focused on a business goal, so focused on success, that we forget about the relationships that are all around us. Or even in that same way, you could be so focused, hyper focused on your relationship that you forget about the relationship with God, that you forget about work. People could just have this hyper focus where they just give everything all in 100% that they just forget about everything else. And see, that's why zone two is so important. So now I've learned that zone two isn't just in running. I just got to put zone two into my life. It's like, hey, how's life going? It's like, bro, I'm coasting in zone two. I'm building that endurance, right? Sometimes these seasons may be slow, but there's a purpose. There's a reason for the season. I'm going to say that each and every time. So you have those different zones, right? So zone one being day to day, what you have going on. Zone two is where you're able to build this endurance, but all the way to zone five. So what do you think zone five could look like in your life? You got that constant grind mode, overcommitting, fatigue because of overcommitting. It's just like, man, if you're running on all pistons continuously and you're never letting your engine rest, of course you're gonna burn out. I will. Bro, I have. And it's in those moments when I learned I have to be intentional with my yeses. I had a good conversation with my pastor, and it was a reality check where, man, Pastor Ernesto at Get Rap Church, man, shout out to him because is a wealth of wisdom that God has blessed upon him. And it was just really understanding. He just told me that there's 5 ministries that you could take on: your relationship with God, your relationship with your family, you have your work. So what other 2 things are you taking on? And me looking at myself, I'm like, bro, I have way more than 5. And although for the moment I may have felt fine, you could feel fine for that moment. Just like in that mile, whenever I'm pushing 6 minutes, I feel fine for that 1 mile. But whenever I'm going 2 miles in, 3 miles in, your body gradually is like, bro, I can't keep this going, right? And unless you're building that endurance to be able to get through it. So it's just me counting all these things. I'm like, well, I feel like I got it. And that's me just being ignorant. Where gradually, once it started getting to me, I realized that I had to start putting things down until finally I made it to the 5 that he talked about. I'm like, man, I could have saved myself all these steps if I would have just listened the first time. But we always just drive ourselves based off of our own ego and thinking that, you know what, I got this. I could do this. It doesn't feel too bad. Yeah, that mile I'm running doesn't feel too bad at mile 1, even getting into mile 2. But boy, whenever I just continued to push myself, it's crazy to think that this injury just showed me such a life experience, and it's the moment that I realized God humbled me in this time. He strengthened me day to day, allowed me to be able to recover, but showed me the importance of what it is to be able to take your moment to slow down. And it's mid run when this thought comes to me. It's just like, bro, you don't got to just slow down in your runs. You got to slow down in your life. Take things one day at a time. Tomorrow has its worries already. Worry about today. And I'm going to read a verse here. It's Psalms 127, verse 2. It is useless for you to work so hard from early morning until late at night, anxiously working for food to eat. For God gives rest to his loved ones. I was like, man, it's understanding that I should be at peace with everything that I have going instead of me consistently driving to just say, man, Lord, bless me with these funds, bless me with this promotion. So many times, and I know it's not just me, we just drive ourselves on money, 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 but money's the root of all evil, man. Money doesn't solve all the problems. You have so many business owners that could be out here that are just so focused on that level of success that they don't have time for the rest of their lives. And they don't have a family, or if they do, they don't have time for it. And nothing against people that are that driven, but it's that big challenge of just being able to find that balance between everything and taking that individual moment to slow down, right? Zone 2 teaches you humility. It forces you to slow down, forces your ego to die at that point, because it's like if you want to be able to build this capacity and build this base, you're going to have to slow down. Running below your capacity, this was hard for me. I am competitive by nature, but even with the smallest things, I could be competitive with my kids. And they'd be over here like, man, why don't you let me win? Like, man, you got to earn that win, right? I'm competitive with my fiance. She beat me at checkers. I'm over here like, give me another round. But really, like, it's just in me, right? And it can be in a lot of people like that, where they're just naturally competitive. And that competitive edge makes it hard for me to just slow down in running when I know I'm like, hey, bro, I know you got more in you. You're just going to go this pace. And that was the foolishness in me, right? That was the flesh in me just trying to push me. And what happens? I injure myself. And it's that same way where it's just your own self drive, just like, man, you know, you could do more. Hey, this is a good opportunity. You should take it. And it's just like, man, but I already got all this other stuff going on. But what if you don't get an opportunity like this again? Ah, man. All right. You know what? I'll go ahead and take the opportunity. And then bam, you take it. And you're over here just opportunity after opportunity, responsibility after responsibility. And I'm like, bruh, I don't even want to do anything anymore. And you burn out. And it's that exact same mentality where you just got to understand, like, we have to slow down. You got to apply zone 2 to your day-to-day life every day for you there. See, it's called restraint. Not every season is meant to be visible. Not every opportunity is meant to be seized. Sometimes maturity looks like restraint. Check this out. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 2. Enthusiasm without knowledge is no good. Haste makes mistakes. Oh, man. So enthusiasm without knowledge is no good. So how do you gain knowledge, right? You got to take that time to learn, to grow. Without it, it's no good. Haste makes mistakes. What does haste look like? Shortcuts. Shortcuts cost you progress so many times. Man, I can tell you just even with something that's not even applicable to success, not applicable to just running, but I'll tell you this is I was driving, GPS is on. I see that there's a ton of traffic just back to back there on the highway. I'm like, man, come on, bro. And I know that's one thing that I got to get better on whenever I'm driving is just being patient there through the drive. But I'm like, you know what? I know a shortcut. I can go ahead and take this back road. This should be able to ease this up. So what do? I get off the highway. Get off the highway and start on this shortcut. And what do you know? I'm not the only one that knows this shortcut. So now instead of me being 20 minutes delayed, here I go, 35 minutes delayed. And there's no way that I can get back on the highway. So that shortcut itself cost me. We have to take a moment to just be able to restrain ourselves and endure to be able to make it to that final destination, not in our time, but in God's timing. And that's patience. That's restraint. But more than anything, that's growth, bro. And it's so hard. It's so hard as an individual to just let go of that control and say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just make it through this slow season. See, so skipping zone two in that same way, it could feel productive. You know, you're in that run, you're like, oh, yeah, man, I'm getting it. It can look intense, but it delays long term development. Man, picture that in life. So you're over here chasing that success, foot on the gas the entire time. It could feel productive and it looks intense, but it's going to go ahead and delay your long term development whenever we're taking these shortcuts. Man, think of Exodus. Whenever you think of that time, whenever they had the shortest route that could have been possible, but God said they weren't ready, let me go ahead and take them this other route. There was a purpose in that. And it may not be something that we want, but it's again, there's a reason for the season. So in life, we can aim for quick money, quick success, forced growth, over leveraging the time that we have. Man, that's my biggest battle. Over leveraging the time that we have. And I've experienced that through trying to chase success, through trying to chase my growth, and adding so many things without really taking accountability of all that I already have and understanding it so that I can be intentional. And everything else suffers. See, zone two teaches that patience is growth. Being patient in that season, you are growing. You're building that capacity. Man, let me read this other one that hit here, but Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessings if we don't give up. At just the right time, bro. Not too early, not too late, but just the right time. Man, just the right time is not forced. It can be, right? What is it? It's just the right time. You got to understand that you may want it early, you may want it later. I don't know anybody that really wants that success later or wants whatever they're wanting later. But maybe you know what, like talk about building a family and everything there. Maybe that comes later, but everything will come at just the right time, and that is in God's perfect timing. And finally, man, when you think about zone two, it's allowing you to recover. You know, we had talked about that. It improves your blood flow, clears your lactate, and strengthens your heart. So it's building you quietly. In life, not every day needs to be intense, strategic, monetized. Some days should just strengthen your heart. Some days should strengthen your will. These days strengthen your endurance. And you have days to be able to strengthen your relationship. Strengthen your relationship with God day to day, right? Be able to just have that relationship to where you could have peace. Strengthen your relationship with your family. I have loved being able to go out and train with my son. Never did I think that we would have such a shared joy where it's me teaching him his stride, going in and loving to see his pace increase, being able to go out here and even with him waking up early, it's such a sense of joy just to see I'm not the one forcing him to wake up, but him putting alarms so that he can wake up. Now I'm not making him wake up at 2, right? Yeah, school and everything there, but just whenever he wakes up on the weekend or doing training in the afternoon, but just him making his own commitment. He's the one that asked that he wanted to do a 5K, so he has his first 5K in March. And better believe I'm gonna record that, put that up because man, that is gonna be such a moment of joy of just his patience, his zone 2 running, right? Being able to build up to that mileage to where he wasn't running a mile to begin with so that he can make it to a 5K. Man, bro, come on, look at God. But it's just these intentional moments of time with my kids, not just with my son, my daughter, right? Teaching her how to be able to edit and just seeing her take joy in some of these things. And it's just these moments that we have intentional time. It just means so much to me, man. And it's that intentional time with the Lord. Man, the intentional time with my fiance, right? We can both be so busy. I have a full schedule. She has a full schedule. She's going back to school, working full time. And man, shout out to her because she be having some dedication where she has some of these classes where I be seeing what she does, and it's just like, man, I don't know who, I don't know even know how a professor reads these 15-page essays from all these students, right? Let alone grade them and go through all that. It's just like, man, that's some work. And then math classes, forget about it. I was good in I was good in school. So I'm gonna tell you, the test of time made me realize that I could be good in school, but it's definitely if I don't use it, I'm gonna lose it. So I definitely lost some of the skill set that I had in math right there. I don't remember my algebra skills. Calculus, gone. Right? Like, but 'cause we don't apply it. So same thing. Like I learned French. I took French for 6 years. I know basic communication, but whenever I was over here, it's like, I can watch a show. I tried watching the show. I was like, boy, I have no idea what they're saying. They are speaking fast. I'm over here like, bonjour, parlez-vous le français? And it's just like, nah, bro, I thought I did. I don't speak French. I thought I did. I was wrong. Right. But man, that intentional time with my fiance has been huge because we recognize like, hey, we need to take a moment for each other. We have these one-on-ones, and that can sound crazy to some people, but to me it's an intentional moment of time where we have one-on-one space with one another, not us just sitting watching TV, not us just sitting next to each other browsing on our phone, but we talk about goals, talk about finances, talk about what's going on in our relationship so that we can really be able to grow. But not just that, but it's being intentional where we have moments with one another like going out to eat, right? The other day we went out to go play bingo, and boy, let me tell you, bingo has straight up changed. I was over here to begin with. I don't even play bingo. Typically, I'm over here loteria, right? Just putting them with the bottle caps. I remember doing that, helping my mom play and everything. And bingo, you got this huge sheet, and then they also got a computer, bro. The computer's playing for you, but it was just over here, and it's not even regular bingo where you just got to go like cross the line. Like you making these patterns, crisscross applesauce and everything. And it's just like, bro, what is going on? I'm trying to get all these numbers. So it's just like B54. I'm like, bro, like where am I at? Right. But it was fun. We had such a good intentional time with one another. And that's something we had been praying about, man. It's just like, God, give us a moment to be able to spend with one another throughout the schedule that we have, just so that we can have this moment of intentionality and be able to keep you at center. And out of all this, we didn't expect to win. We didn't expect to do. And granted, we didn't win, right? There was definitely like cash prizes out there. But let me tell you this: we didn't need a win, but we got blessed with a gift card because it was Valentine's Day weekend, and they were doing all these giveaways, and we won a gift card to be able to go eat at a set of restaurants. So not just one. And this will probably end up covering, man, 5, 7 dates because we share a plate, share an appetizer. I drink mineral water, so that ain't as expensive. So it's just, it was like we prayed for this, and God's like, you know what? You don't even have to worry about the financial piece of it. Go enjoy each other's company. It was just like, man, thank you, God. Right. But it's just, again, taking this moment to be able to slow down throughout the busy schedule that we both have, to be able to go ahead and just say, hey, let's be intentional with one another. And that's huge, man. So it's just, even in like strength training, once I started adding more mileage in, it took up more time. And one thing I've learned is if it's important to you, you'll make the time. Running taught me that. Running is important to me, so I made the time. My relationship with God is important to me, so I make the time. Relationship with my kids, my fiance are important to me, so I make the time. Whenever you don't make the time, that's whenever you realize what you're prioritizing. And that's completely okay, right? But it's just making sure you're intentional with your yeses so that whenever you do say yes, it's important to you. So you're going to make the time, right? But getting back to my strength training, it's still important to me. I want to make sure that I strength train. So it's just, I was rushing that I realized I'm doing 4 rush sets, not good form, just trying to knock them out. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take out a set. I'd rather give myself 3 quality sets and take my time, build that capacity, be able to go ahead and just continue to build strength, that endurance, then rush. And what happens when you rush, bro? Same thing in strength training. You don't have that good form, you risk injury, you risk fatigue, poor performance. It's just like, bruh, I never knew zone 2 could be in life and everything. Taking that moment to just slow down. So it's just like if you don't take a moment to put zone 2 into your life, zone 2 into your running, zone 2 into your strength training, zone 2 into your relationships, your success, your career path, your mindset overall, you fatigue, you plateau, you have that risk of injury, you burn out. In life, if you don't ever take that moment to slow down, that's mental exhaustion. Your relationships are strained. Spiritually, you're dry because you're not having that intentional time. Performance, both in training, at work, they drop. I'm going to read you this. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. Even youth will become weak and tired, and young men will fall into exhaustion. But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. Waiting does not mean inactivity. Waiting equals controlled effort. Zone 2 is waiting in motion. The hardest discipline, and man, I brought this up in another episode. The hardest discipline isn't pushing harder. It's discerning when to slow down. Bruh, each time that hits me, the hardest discipline isn't pushing harder, but discerning when to slow down. That's just like your zone 2 running is discerning when to slow down. Oh, my heart rate's too high. Let me slow down. Pushing is easy. Holding back, that's hard. Zone 2 isn't about running slow. It's building the engine that lets you endure. Man, each one of these just be getting to me. It's building the engine that lets you endure. Your slow season, it isn't about being slow. It's building your engine to let you endure. Life works that same way. If you don't take a moment to be able to discern when the Lord is asking you to slow down, you'll burn out before you can build the capacity for future responsibility, for the future blessings that you've prayed for. And that's one thing that I came to understand is that I may be praying and praying and praying, but God isn't going to give me that blessing until he knows that I'm ready to receive that blessing. Right? So it's just like, man, endure. build that capacity, go through that slow season, grow through that slow season. That's the reason for the season. Be patient and build yourself, build that endurance. It may not look pretty, but it'll all be worth it. Trust and believe that. That's huge, man. And I hope that this hits you in that same way. I hope that you can apply zone two to your life, not just running, not just training, but to life. Take a moment to slow down, build that capacity, build your relationships, man. If this hits you the way it hit me, man, I hope that you're able to share. That's all I got for y'all, man. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next episode that we got going on. I'm actually excited, bro, because we're getting ready to start to interview some people. So I told y'all we're gonna do some untold runner stories. So I know I go through the struggle. I know I got a balance of life with everything that I'm doing when it goes from just, man, everything that I listed, right? And I'm just one individual that's barely doing training, doing 50 miles. You have people out here that do these 100 milers that are triathletes, and it's just they still have their day-to-day life. And that's what I'm so excited about, is to be able to talk to some of these individuals, share their story, understand how they're being able to balance everything, and just shed some light on things, man, because we all go through struggles. We all go through the struggles of balancing time. We all go through just mental struggles, mental exhaustion throughout this entire journey. So I'm just so excited to share that, man. So there'll be more to come. Definitely hope that y'all check it out. But again, man, looking forward to it all, man. But again, y'all choose to rise. Deuces, y'all. Have a good one.